AST 2016. This is interviews, music reviews, and more. This is The Hodder Show.
What is up, everybody? We are on audio here today on episode 317 of The Hodder Show. I hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Thank you so very much for tuning in and clicking that play button on today's episode of the podcast. I have a stellar episode for you here today, as I try to do every single week right here on The Hodder Show. I'm sitting down and chatting with the creator, executive producer, sound designer, and voice actor for my favorite podcast, The Grey Rooms, Jason Wilson. We have a super fun chat as we talk about the bad dream that started the journey to create a fictional horror audio drama podcast, the story behind the narrative, how the angel of the Grey Rooms, as Jason calls him, Graham Rowett, came into the picture, building the Grey Rooms team, because there's a whole team that helps out with this show and they're very important. He talks about that in detail. The amazing Discord community that I am a part of and love so very much, where the inspiration for his squishy, wet, uncomfortable, and disgusting sound effects come from, his future goals for the show, and so much more. I cannot stress enough how much of a fun episode this was for me. Definitely one of my favorites I have ever done, and I really think you guys are going to have an absolute blast listening to this. And there may or may not be an appearance during the episode by a favorite character of mine from the Grey Room, so stay tuned for that. But without further ado, let's jump into my chat with Grey Room's creator, executive producer, voice actor, and sound designer, Jason Wilson. And it's time for you to choose a door. You guys have listened to my podcast for the last year and a bit. You've heard me go on and on about how much I am obsessed now with audio drama podcasts, specifically horror audio drama podcasts. And one podcast in particular, you've heard me talk about a whole bunch over the last couple of months, because I've had a couple people on who did some writing for this podcast. And I could not be more excited and honored than to welcome on the man who is responsible for this podcast. He is the creator, producer, sound designer, and also voice actor for the Grey Rooms. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome onto the show, Jason Wilson. Jason, what's up, brother? How you doing?
Good evening, my friend. I'm about 2 shots of Crown Apple and a couple of handfuls of Maker Marks and Maker's Mark. See, I'm doing fine. Doing just fine.
Couple handfuls of Maker's Mark.
Yeah, I can't even talk. It is what it is. This is going to be interesting.
Well, that's okay. I'm a few ciders in. I was telling you before we started that I was just introduced fully to ciders, and I have already had a few of these. So this is going to be a fun, fun conversation. Thank you so much for joining me, and it's an absolute pleasure getting a chat with you here.
No, thank you. I greatly appreciate it. I know you reached out a while back, and I apologize for taking so long, but you're just a wonderful asset to the community. And as a listener, you know, I mean, me personally, I can't thank my listeners enough for listening. And I can't thank you for being such a presence in our Discord channel and a listener to the podcast, and such a supporter that you are. So thank you. I'm the one that's actually honored. So thank you very much.
Thank you, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. And the second that, you know, I was just to jump in head first here, like I was telling you, I discovered the Grey Rooms because of Mr. Graham Rowett, shouts to Graham. But what got me to stay and really become a actual roomie in the Grey Room, so to speak, was because of your sound design. Because I'm telling you right now, the second that I put on the first episode, after the intro and everything, within the first 30 seconds, I heard that little light bulb. I went, okay, this is next level, man. This is really next level. And it's such a, you know, for those of you who listen to my podcast, you know, regularly, you've heard me talk about the Grey Rooms a whole bunch, because it's my obsession and I love it so much. But man, where did all of this come from? Where did the idea for the Grey Room come from? What was the catalyst to make you want to actually start creating the Grey Room as an audio drama podcast?
A bad dream. When I went to, I'm one of those kind of people that don't necessarily remember. I don't remember any of my dreams. And I was in college for audio engineering and radio broadcast journalism. And my roommate, one of my roommates in the dorms, was his name was Kit, and he was a psych major, and he specialized in like abnormal psychology and dream therapy and that kind of stuff. I don't understand how they go hand in hand, but whatever, he did it. And he said, do you have any kind of memories? I'm like, yeah, bits and pieces here. Like that light bulb was one that was always in my dream. Always. I just remembered the only thing I could think of was like if it's a movie, at least this is what's in my head at this moment. It's a movie. Just think of like subway tiles with like moldy grout, and it's wet, and it's like a blue filter, and it's just flashing nonstop, just constantly flashing. There's a person standing there just kind of like, and they're wet. They're just like, their clothes are wet. They're just bloody and just dirty. So that was
extremely
my dream.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. A little, just mildly. Yes.
Mildly uncomfortable.
But, so he told me to write down what I remembered. So I did that every morning. I did that for 4 or 5 months. And finally I came up with a guy in a room with a door, and they went through the door, and he had to choose 2 doors, and then the rest is history. And so I just wrote it down. I actually started writing a story. I'm no author, but I started trying my hand I bought a composition book, and I was going to fill this composition book, and that was going to be my short story. I was going to write the whole story about this guy living this fucked up Groundhog's Day, and I just kind of forgot about it. And fast forward like a decade or more, and I started dating Christina, who's now my wife, and we were just hanging out. And I was renting a bedroom in a house, and coincidentally too, I'll just go ahead and brag on this. It was the only room in a house with a big ass TV. That's all I had. I had a bed on a floor, but I had a 55-inch flat screen TV.
What's more important? Let's be serious. Come on.
Beanbag and a PlayStation 3, and I was like, or 2 at that time. I was like, hell yeah, check this out. But yeah, so she was sitting there one time, and I was nerding it up. I don't even know what game. I think it was like a Mortal Kombat game or something. Nice. She was sitting there watching me do that kind of jazz, and then she just kind of found my comps. I don't honestly know where she found it because I don't know where it was. But I look over, and she's rifling through my 4 pages, because that's the extent of my novella is 4 pages. Arthur, eat it. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Screw you, Arthur. What do you got, buddy? Come on.
You got nothing on there. But so anyway, she said, well, what was this? And I explained the whole thing to her. And then we put the book down, and we ended up, a while later, we moved in together, started a family. And then I decided to get a different job because I had worked in radio, didn't pay much. And I became a letter carrier. And one of the things about being a letter carrier is you have just a shitload of time. Mm-hmm. And I'm by myself. And so I was out there just listening to podcasts, and yeah, so I remember her telling me, because I said, I can do this. Because I think I was listening to Laura and No Sleep podcast, and I was like, I can do this. I can edit this kind of stuff. I know I can. And I told her, I said, I think I'm going to get into podcasting. And she said, why don't you use that idea? And I said, I don't know. I don't know if it'd be a good idea. She said, look, you either use that or I'm going to write a book about it. So boom, there you go. And we named it that night in bed. And we named it that night in bed. We were like, what should we call it? We call it like the Diaries or something, like something. It was originally going to be called like the Raymond Chronicles, or the Chronicles of Raymond or something like that. But I knew that was going to pigeonhole it, and I didn't want to do that. So I started thinking of movies like Saw, and like, which one? Clint Eastwood, Escape from Alcatraz. And I started thinking of like prison cells. I said, oh, well, that's what it is. What's the color of concrete? Gray. It's a room, the gray room, and he's going through multiple rooms, plural, the gray rooms. And it has to be an E because the A just looks weird. I think the E looks right, but it is what it is. I think that's my English heritage there. I don't know.
I always spell it with an E too, so I agree.
Whenever anybody says Gray in like the Discord, I'm like, it just does not look natural. That doesn't look right. So yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. And it's so cool because, like, obviously I had heard a little bit about that story, because like you had mentioned about, me being in the Discord. Like the first night I was in the Discord, for those of you listening, I got to watch you edit, and then we got to have a little bit of a conversation over while you were playing the trucking simulator.
Oh, the trucking. I missed that.
Yeah. So I was kind of fangirl and being like, "Whoa, what's going on with this?" So like, what about this? And so you're very forthcoming with talking about the show and everything, of course. And so it's cool to kind of hear the full background story of where that came from. But so when you realize, okay, I want this to be this audio drama podcast. Hey, I could do this. You know, like you mentioned, you had a background in radio. We're definitely going to get into that a little later because I want to dive into that too. So when you decided, okay, this is the route I want to go with this, what was kind of that first step for you to start realizing that? How did break that down for me?
First step of starting it, just getting it going. Literally two things. One, Chrissy said, either you do it or I'm going to steal your idea. I'm not a fan of that. So I said, cool, fires under my butt. Plus she had heard some of the things because, I had been doing there's actually a internet radio station out there called Radio Riff, RIFF. It's a friend of mine who's actually a patron. But he's a buddy of mine I've been friends with since 2000, 2001. And he does internet radio. And I used to do imaging for him, on the side. And she had heard some of that because I actually wanted a hobby. And I was like, I'm going to do some internet radio. And so this is before the podcasting came about. And so she had heard what I could do with the audio. And so she told me, do this and do that, or I'm stealing it. So I wasn't going to let her steal it. And so on to part two. I literally said, I'm going to make this happen. So I knew what I wanted it to be. I knew what the end goal was. Like I knew what the emotion I wanted to pull out of the listener was. So I made a trailer, and spoiler alert, every voice in that trailer is me, except for two. Christina's in there and Jason's in there. You can hear them distinctly, but even Bob, that was me. I was the original
Really?
Bob.
Okay.
Because originally I didn't think I was going to get such a gifted talent. I call him the angel of the gray rooms, Graham Rowett. I never knew that was ever going to fall into my lap or ever become a reality. So, thank whatever God or whatever you pray to, but thank you, Graham Rowett. Because seriously, I love that man big time. But so I made a trailer. And I put the trailer out, I think it was in February of 2018. And I put a date on when I was going to release the podcast. And I remember I submitted, I put it online. Sorry about that. I put it online. And Chrissy looked at me and she said, did you just put a trailer out for your podcast? Yep. Did you just put a date on that? I said, yeah. She goes, you don't have anything other than what you just did. You have nothing. I said, well, I better fucking figure it out then. I'm sorry, I did that all right. Yeah, but I better figure it out then. And she is still to this day kind of chuckles at that because it was kind of weird that it was maybe like a month after I put that trailer out, I got an email from Graham. The rest is history.
Wow. Just how things work out too, eh? It's like
let that be a pointer though. Let that be a hint. If you have an idea, you have an itch, just freaking do it. Because the universe will make things manifest. Yeah, things will manifest if you freaking make it happen. Just do it. Don't be afraid.
Oh, for sure. I'm a firm believer in just if there's something you want, like it's something it's kind of a bit of a theme over the last couple of years, especially I've been talking about, like if there's something you want to do, regardless of what it is, regardless of how unobtainable you might think that it could be, just do it. Just go for it. Because if you don't go for it, you're going to be thinking about it, or someone might steal your idea.
Right. Yeah. Chrissy. And believe in it too, man. Mm-hmm. You have to believe in it, because if you go into something thinking that there's a possibility that it's not going to be what you think it can be, then it will be exactly what you think it cannot be.
Yeah.
You need to go into it thinking, I believe in this. I know that this is going to be, and give it your all, give it your best hope, even in the darkest times. Put one foot in front of the other and keep the torch held high. Because it will happen. Just do it and believe in it, because the universe just works that way. It's weird. If you put the time and the effort and energy into it, it may take 5 years, it may take 15 years, but it will happen to you if you do not stop. So don't be afraid. Do it. Put out a trailer and freak everybody out in your house and get made fun of for a month. And then Graham Rowett will send you an email.
So I have to ask, What did that email kind of entail? Was it just, hello, my name is Graham Rowett, here's my stuff? And
I still have that email. I still have that email saved. It's I should actually pull it up and kind of get a giggle at it one day, because he sent me and he's like, hey man, basically in a nutshell, it's like, hi, my name is Graham Rowett. I'm this guy. I'm this boom. And here's my accolades. And it was condensed, obviously, because he's a professional. He's not going to, he wants me to be able to read it in like
be a 7-page email if he had to say right. Done.
And he's like, so I'd really be interested in working with you. So I reached out to him and said, hey, man, this is great. I would be really, I'm sorry. He also included a link to him for his rates and everything else like that. And I clicked on it. I was like, ooh. So I sent him an email. I said, dude, I'm just some guy on a laptop that barely runs in a kitchen with a really bad idea, I was like, I can't do that. I'm maybe in the future. I remember telling Christina, I was kind of a little demoralized or a little kind of beat up by that, because here's this professional guy coming out, and I was like, oh my God, I could work with this guy, but I can't afford him. And you know what? This dude sent me an email almost like, I remember I sent send, and it was basically me saying, hey, next time, if I got some money, I would love to work with you. Sorry, Toban, I'm just some dude, so I'm going to do it all by myself. Send. I think it was like 2 hours later, I open up my email and there's a reply. I was like, what? And literally it said, just send me a script. And so I sent him a script, which ended up being The Gardener. And I got it back, I think, the next day. And basically Graham was like, well, when we get to that point, we'll worry about that. But right now I just really want to work with this project. And the rest is history. Graham, I do call him the angel of the gray rooms for a reason. Like he's something else, man. He is a raw, and I think he's an untapped talent in many regards. I do think that he should have like Emmys, Golden Globes, Tonys. 100%. I think he should be on everything. And the fact he doesn't is not anything on him. It's just the fact that people aren't looking hard enough for people like Graham Rudd, who are amazing. So love you, Graham. If anybody didn't know,
if anybody didn't know. Oh, bromance happening here. No, listen,
that's all right.
Like I said, like I am, what drew me to the Grey Rooms was Graham, but then, it was like, okay, this is a project. Like I've said to him before, basically anything you're involved with, I'm going to check out. But, I check out the Grey Rooms and I was like, oh, like this is, and I think I came into it pretty late too. I think you guys were on at the end of like season 3 when I found the Grey Rooms, and I was
never
like,
too late.
I started season 1 and I was like, I got a lot to catch up on. And like halfway through season 2, I was like, holy shit. Like is this podcast just going to keep getting better and better? And then season 3 came along and I was like, oh yeah, it will. Okay. We're going to keep expanding on stuff. Like, holy shit. When is this going to like, it's a good problem to have, I guess, right? When you have,
yes,
like you've already mentioned, you just have so many talented people that become involved, and all the writers that you work with and everything. When you originally started like working on the idea, was it always that you were going to have, because I believe the term you've used before is like it's a horror anthology podcast, where you have, for those of listening who are not familiar with the Grey Rooms, I implore you to go check out the Grey Rooms because it's fantastic. But basically there's like a story in the intro kind of based on the actual Grey Rooms, and then each door is its own story. Was that always the concept of the show that you wanted from day one? That was what you wanted?
Well, it was my dream. That was my dream. Now, granted, in the dream, I didn't like live all the stories that that the individual goes through, but this person, I just distinctly remember would go into a door, and I do remember in my dreams, it was like a big flash, like woof, and then they would almost like fall on the ground, boom, which we integrated into season 3, where you kind of almost spit out of the door onto the floor, and Beckett would just be like, oh, and hit the ground and just kind of cough and wheeze and stuff, because they're getting back into living again, I guess. But yeah, it was always kind of a recurring cycle of just sucky. However, I do have to say that Brian, the first narrative author for season 1 and some season 2, talked me out of my initial idea, which was the Grey Rooms was going to stay exactly what it was. The Grey Rooms was going to stay. And now with because again, I'm a sound guy, I'm kind of linear in my thoughts and with stories. I'm not a writer. And he said, well, let me give you a pointer. How about we change the scene every season? And he had to sell me on it, because I was like, hell no. And
we sat down. Rooms, bro.
Yeah. Because I remember telling him, this doesn't make any freaking sense. And then he was like, no, it's, you set the foundation, and boom. And so I was like, you know what? You're right. And season 2 became, and after season 2 started, I said, all right, he's got a good pointer. So I have to give Brian a lot of credit to, developing the broadening of the sphere that we see the Grey Rooms in. So that's a lot to do with Brian there. So hope Brian's doing good.
Yeah, for sure. Shouts to Brian. That's, and I mean, obviously looking at it, it's such an interesting concept with the show, because what I think, just speaking from a fan standpoint, what got me really was, yes, obviously that first episode, season 1, I mean, coming out of it with the Great War, like, I mean, that was a very interesting story. But what was so interesting about it, that whole first season, especially I think for me, was just the dynamics of everything. It's not like, it's like you're saying, it doesn't have to be linear. You can really do whatever you want. Mm-hmm. You know, every door can be so polar oppositely different from the last one. Mm-hmm. You never really truly know what you're going to get. And that's what it really keeps the listeners on their toes. And for you as the sound designers, that's something that I would imagine is a challenge. It's almost like a fun challenge every episode. You're sitting down, okay, I can't just rest on my laurels. Not that you would, but just, I have to kind of be creative. It's a different creative outlet every single episode, right?
I mean, it would be nice sometimes to just go, this is like, I just got to do like 1 or 2 doors opening, woof, woof, somebody talking out the story. Great. I love that. No,
running through a compressor, you know, we're done here.
Yeah, right. It's, I have so much fun. It's weird. I've said this before, and I don't know if people really, I don't know if I sound crazy when I say this, but when I read a story, it's great. I love it. But the second I sit down to edit it and I actually start hearing the voice talent, the voice actor, actress, whoever it is, start saying the lines, boom, the television in my mind comes on and I can see the picture. And so I'm like, oh, I can hear. Okay. So they're outside. Oh man, I hear this butterfly. And over here on the right in the back, about 40 degrees here, I hear a cricket. And like, so I can envision, like, I'm actually standing in this field, or I'm standing in this room, or I'm riding in this car. I can hear, I've been in a car. I know what it sounds like to ride in a car. I know what it sounds like to ride in a train. I know what it sounds like to be in an airplane. I know what it sounds like. So I try in my television, in my mind, to translate that to the audio so everybody else can kind of just feel what I was seeing in my head at that time. So it's an absolute blast. Like with the Great War, it opens up with, you know, the explosions and gunfire and everything, because in my mind, I saw rolling credits, like a black screen, and then the screen slowly fades in with maybe like a Sephora filter or some kind of, maybe even like a blue-gray. And there's just people running through the trenches. There's dirt flying everywhere. There's explosions, and there's smoke from the tail ends of the bombs. And I don't know, just, you know, people bleeding out of places they shouldn't be bleeding out of. And it's, I don't know. It's just, yeah, it's a friggin' blast. So if you do want to write for the Grey Room, just keep in mind, I definitely want to make it the worst experience ever.
I was telling Jason before we started, guys, like, man, there is the most recent season 4, which so far is fantastic, even though I am unfortunately a little behind.
I fucking love it,
but Jason is great, and his listeners, especially us in the Discord, love to say that Jason is obviously very talented at everything he does, but he seems to have a particular talent for finding the most uncomfortable, squishy noises in the world. And I have a pretty strong stomach and sense of, you know, everything. And man, there are some times where I even feel a little uncomfortable listening. It's just like, oh man. But season 2, there is an episode 2, Smile.
Oh, see, yeah.
It involves a dentist. And that's all I'm going to say, guys. Go check it out. And there was one point during that episode, there was a sound effect you have of scraping, and
it's about a dentist, so you're not going to be doing too many spoilers there.
Yeah. But just picture the worst possible dentist experience you could think of, and that's pretty much what you're going to hear on this audio drama.
I don't know. This could actually probably even worse, in my opinion. You know, you add in the other element there. But
I hope it's way worse. It better be. If I went to a dent, I think there was someone in the Discord. Oh, shouts to CM getting ready to go to the dentist. She was like, I can't listen to this episode. Like, she's like, I got like 5 minutes in and I had to stop, and I was like, I hear you.
So we had a really good time over in the Discord channel over in the administrative side. We were just chuckling back and forth, reading everybody reply and respond to the story, and it was just we were just really loving it, because that's what that's kind of what makes us tick as horror podcasters. I mean, we're in horror, you know, so when we go and we see people cringing and just like wanting to fold in half, like, oh God, I need to find a safe spot and just rethink my life because I listened to this podcast. We're over on the other end, like, yeah. So yeah, we're just digging it. It's a good time for us.
That's what gets you up in the morning. Let's be real. You know,
right,
and I get it. Totally understand. Like, you know, when there's nothing more satisfying than when you're going for, especially, I mean, obviously some stories wouldn't lend themselves quite as well to that as others do, of course. But even, you know, again, season 4, the very first episode, Team Spirit, I believe it's called.
Yep.
You know, again, I don't want to give away too much, guys. Go check it out because it's the most recent season. You got to go check it out. But
very interesting twist on.
Yeah.
My first time doing something like that. Yeah.
And
Fun.
even that, like, there's not a lot of quote unquote uncomfortable sounds throughout the whole thing. But then there's like one or two that's just like, oh, like this person's explaining what's happening. And I'm just sitting there like I said to you before, you know, I listen to a lot of podcasts when I'm alone at my last place I go for my job. So I'm alone in this office in an upstairs area and it's like pretty dark and stuff. So I'm like walking around doing stuff and I'm listening to this description of this thing that's happening and listening to the sounds. And I'm like, oh, I don't like this. I need to go listen to like a happy, like, I think I'll listen to something else, man. This is uncomfortable.
I loved My Human. That'll make you smile. Just go ahead and listen to that, everybody.
Yeah, I love season 1, episode 2. I love My Human. Probably one of the most cult classic Grey Rooms episodes, I think. That's one that always gets brought up.
Mike Lee, I'll tell you. If there's somebody I love almost on the same level as Graham Road, it's Mike Lee, I'll tell you. I love that man. He's dealing with some moving and everything else like that in his life, so he wasn't able to be with us this season. But which kind of sucks because if you go back and listen to every season, every preseason story, for one, we kind of made a joke that we constantly killed Graham. Graham died every preseason, and it was Mike Lee that killed him. So, because Mike Lee did every preseason story that Graham Road died in, and and he unfortunately wasn't able to be a part of it this season, which. A little part of me died when that happened, but it is what it is. So I freaking love Mike Lee. And so answer my text, Mike, if you listen, you jerk.
Get on it, Mike. What the hell, man? Come on. Well, Bicker's busy moving. Come on.
Yeah, right.
No, shouts to him. A very, very talented individual. I mean, we could probably speak for a whole hour just on some of the people that are involved in the rooms alongside you, but just give me a quick kind of Cliff Notes version.
Of the people that work with us. Okay. Well, let's just go ahead and start with Brooks Bigley. Brooks is a wonderful human being. Not only is he just a very nice, sometimes Brooks is really good at what's the word? When you call him like, damn it, I'm in such a bad mood. I'm pissed off, Brooks. I'm mad at you. And I'll call Brooks and he's like, yeah, man, whatever. And you get on the phone, you're like, you know what, Brooks, you're all right. I'm not really so mad at you anymore.
Like a Jedi mind trick or some shit.
You're good. He is. That's it right there, man. That's it. He's like, these are not the emotions you wanted to have this morning. You're like, God dang, I don't. That's right. I didn't. I know. Anyway, so Brooks, he has a really good delivery. He's very smart. He does a lot of behind the scenes stuff. He does a lot. He does all the show notes. He deals with our Patreon. He works with our social media, him and Graham. And then he does the behind the door, and he does just a phenomenal job. And he's just a really good dude. I really, really enjoyed Brooks Bigley as a human being. Mm-hmm. And then obviously we have Hale Scherf. My working with Hale is kind of off and on because they are a videographer and they do such a wonderful job though.
Oh yeah.
The talent that Hale has is superb, which I'm going to get into the reason why I think the talent is superb a little later, because this individual is phenomenal. But Hale is a wonderful human being. Every time I say, hey, Hale, I have an idea, they're like, bring it on. Let's do it. I want to make this awesome. Like they had an idea where I was supposed to like be punching some meat, and as I was recording it, because some of these sound effects I actually record and use.
Right.
And like matter of fact, I believe it was convenience shopping. I actually was physically hitting steaks with my hand and everything like that in that story, and I put it up there. So all those like sounds you hear were me beating the crap out of a steak in my kitchen, and then I ate it. It was wonderful. It was like 2 rewards at once. So, but they wanted to call it. They wanted to call it Jason Beats His Meat and put it. So yeah,
I was about to make
yeah,
that joke. So,
and unfortunately, that never happened because I was like, hey, Hale, I'm sorry I ate that steak. And
my bad.
Yeah, so my bad. So
it was delicious.
Maybe
though.
one day we'll stage it and it'll be a really good time. But I mean, everybody is so absolutely. We already know how I feel about Graham Rowett, and and we have a newcomer, Tori Miller. Tori was a fan that was an author that kind of came and hung out, and she's just phenomenal. Like just a great human being, helps me with the IT stuff, really supportive in the behind the scenes jazz, helps me with the show notes, helps me with some of my scripting. Because believe it or not, I know I sound like I know what I'm talking about, and the intros, outros of those, that's only because it's written down. I promise you, if you would let me just go off of my hip, it's going to sound like this. Yeah, it's not going to be good. So Tori, phenomenal. Not to mention, Tori is in the new story I'm working on right now for a couple parts, and she did a great job. So
nice.
Well done, Tori.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I've had many a conversation with Tori, so big shout out to
Tori's phenomenal. Tori's phenomenal. Not only as a coworker, I guess in a sense, but as a fan and just as a person. Like, and then Emma, obviously Tori's significant other. It's always great. Again, this is all tying back to the Discord on that one because Emma goes in there and does her work, and it's just beautiful. I love the outpouring of expressions, expressionisms. Is that the right word? Or
it is now.
Creativity, I guess. Yeah, there you go. I coined it today. Anyways, the outpouring of creativity in our Discord channel. Like, if you're not there, you're missing out. I promise. But
you really are. Honestly,
yeah,
you really
it's
are.
a phenomenal place, and I definitely don't want to forget anybody. And I'm trying to summarize this. And if you let me go, I'll go for 2 hours. So I'm really got to shut myself up. But two people besides Michael Zinke. Oh, I cannot forget Michael Zinke. When Michael Zinke came in, which by the way, again, the angel of the Grey Rooms brought Michael Zinke in, Graham Rudd. And Graham's like, hey, I got this guy. Let's talk with him. And so we come to find out with Zinke with all of his accolades with like Destiny 2 and all that kind of jazz. Yeah. And then he was like, yeah, this is my idea. And he sat us down and he was like, here's my spreadsheet. And this is my brainstorm, and bang, 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 bang. And I'm sitting here and just like, what did I just watch? What
is this?
I'm totally amazed with what's going on. This guy has this charted out for like 15 seasons. I'm like, let's do this, bro. Come on. And then I want 15 more after that, man. So Michael Zinke, oh, what an amazing, not just an amazing, I mean, just listen to the seasons anthologies. That's all him. I have no input on that. He just goes and he's like, Jason, here you go. I listen to it as I edit it. And I'm like, this is freaking amazing. Now, granted, I know where we're going to end up. Kind of like,
sure.
I know I got the, the Cliff's Notes versions, everything going on, but I don't know the odds and ends. Like, honestly, I really didn't know they were going to be the way it was now in season 4. I'm not going to break any spoilers.
Sure.
You know what I'm talking about? I really, until I heard it, I said, this is genius. But anyways, Michael Zinke is an amazing human being. And then J.M. Scherf, probably becoming one of my best friends on the face of the earth. I will, if you'll allow me, after I give the next person credence or credits, I will tell you the whole story about J.M. Scherf.
Please do, because I'm a huge fan of his work.
That makes two of us. That makes absolutely two of us. I cannot tell you how much I love that man. Like, just him and Dee, his wife. I cannot tell you. Like, I can't wait to just hang out with it. Like when we get to where the Grey Rooms, like for example, when Netflix and Shudder come around, which they should, if you're listening now, like today,
happen.
Let's do it. The Grey Rooms is totally a television show and or a continuing movie. Think of sequels, like all these bad movies out there, like all these crappy sequels. Like, look at what they did with Final Destination or Saw. They just made all these really terrible fucking sequels. You don't need to worry about that with the Grey Rooms because it can't be terrible.
It's all solid.
Let's just go.
You can already, you have half the cast already ready to go. Like, come on,
right?
Yeah.
So when y'all come around, we'll get to chit chatting on that. But J.M. Scherf, man, I tell you, when that money comes around, I'm going to move this guy next door and we're going to hang out until we're really old men. Cause I love that man. I tell you, something else. And, but one person that really needs a lot of yells, a lot of high fives, a lot of accolades is essentially, well, she is my COO. That would be Cassie Petit. Cassie does not get a lot of recognition because she does a lot of behind the scenes stuff. But for one, all the artwork you see, that's her. She does all the artwork. Not to mention, we have some stuff coming out with our Patreon, with our subscription boxes and stuff. She designed all of that. Besides just all the artistic crap and all the just awesomeness that is being Cassie Petit's friend, she is the whip that keeps people in line. Like she keeps, I mean, she thought me, Jason, do you have this done? Yeah. Well, you need to get it done. Yes, ma'am. I got it. So, it's like Cassie,
creative direction.
She exactly. That's right. Yeah. Cassie Petit, like she is seriously my right-hand woman in that sense. I couldn't do a lot of this stuff as far as like the administrative and like keeping everything going and all that jazz. I couldn't do it without Cassie. So Cassie needs a hell of a lot more credit than I think that she gets sometimes, because she is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful friend, human being, and an excellent podcast manager. So no matter where she goes, let's say the Grey Rooms were to disappear tomorrow. If Cassie Petit's name is on it, you need to listen to it, because she's going to make sure that shit runs good.
Damn right.
So anyways,
and I mean,
that was a long summary.
No, that's it. Like, and I mean, being someone who it's interesting for me, like when I'm telling you, the Discord was really a game changer even for me too. Like I came into it and I felt like I had heard these names, right? And then it's like, oh, I'm literally having a text conversation with this person now. And it's like, whoa, like this is really cool. As a fan, it's like, this is really cool, because you can't help but think of, and I'm sure you get this too, where you can't help but think, oh, these are like these next level people. Like, oh, yep. I can't possibly have anything in common with these creative geniuses. And then it's just like, oh, they're people too. And they're just people,
David
but they're
Cummings.
Just very creative, talented people.
David Cummings is the name that comes to my mind, because the No Sleep podcast was very instrumental in my influence. And but it was just pushing me along, not really the influence of the show, because I always liked horror, but the No Sleep really was the one I listened to, because Laura was, documentary narrator kind of stuff, which was cool. But I listened to the No Sleep podcast. Oh, there's sound effects, there's music. Oh, I can do this crap. And I remember Graham kept bugging me about a story one year, season 1. I believe it was, I believe it was Ground Level. I think it was number 9. And I was sitting in my little corner, because you sit there and talk about your nook. That's exactly how I ended up getting to. I had to find like a little corner in my house to edit my stuff, and Graham kept bothering me. Man, I don't know about the audio in this story. You need to listen to this story, and I wasn't there yet. So I said, all right, I'll listen to it. And it was around my birthday that came that I got the audio, and I was sitting there, and I turned it on, and I'm just leaning back in my chair. And I was just listening, and it hit me. I was like, wait a minute. Said, hang on. And I leaned forward, and I looked over, and there's Chrissy, like out of the corner, and she's got her phone up, and she's recording, because Graham had reached out to her like, I need video evidence of his reaction when he sees David Cummings is recording, like doing a story, And I was like, wait a minute, what the heck? And I look over, and I see the camera, and instantly clicked. I was like, you son of a motherfucker. So I was like, you goddamn it. But then I was like, are you kidding me? This is David Cummings. Yeah. So, and then again, so I never ever thought in my life that I would ever get to work with, talk to, or meet and anything like that, David Cummings. And I've had conversations with him in DM, and he does a lot of Grey Room stories. I've interviewed him on that Behind the Door, and he's just a great guy. And I yet to meet him, but it's going to happen. And that's going to be a great day, because it'll be David Cummings and Jason Wilson in the same picture. And that right there will be the finality of everything. They'll be like, oh my God, look, there it is. Jason is at his, what is that? What's that like in Buddhism when they reach their pinnacle? Maybe Nirvana. Thank you. Whatever. That works for me.
Close
enough. There it is.
Yeah,
there it is. It's Jason and David. So yeah, no, I absolutely feel you. And so if anybody listening out there, come over to our Discord, because I'll tell you something right now. We want you there because we want to hang out with you. We're not unreachable. Like, I will play video games with you. I'll pop in there and I'll tell you fart jokes. I don't care. I'm just a normal redneck Midwestern guy that knows how to make things sound gross. That's it.
That's possibly the best description. I'm writing that down because I'm going to use that as the tagline for this. I'm interested in Redneck who knows how to make things sound gross.
Yeah, that's it.
That's fantastic. That's it, man. Well, again, like that's, I could talk for an hour just on the fun times I've had on the Discord, like, and the interactions I've had on the Discord and, cool opportunities I've gotten from the Discord. Obviously for those of you who have checked out my show before, like, having Arthur on, that wouldn't have happened without the Discord. Even having Mark on, that wouldn't have happened without Discord. I wouldn't have had you on without being in the Discord. So like, it's such a cool thing. And it's something that I didn't know anything about until the Grey Rooms. I never really was in with the Discord stuff. And it's such a cool community. Everyone involved on the management side of things, so to speak, are awesome. But then also just, there's almost like this whole other world in that Discord that is just there's so many moving parts, and there's the different chats, all the authors go in and send stuff back and forth, and the gaming channel and art being sent back and forth. There's so much. If you're listening to this right now and you're not on the Discord, you need to check it out. You really do.
Yeah, it's a literal community in itself. So I guarantee if somebody's streaming, doing some artwork, or somebody's streaming gaming right now, or somebody's talking about stories, there's something going on. There's something for everybody. Really, it's a great place. And it's a great place too, where you can go and unwind, and you can meet people that are going to listen to you and not judge you and treat you like crap. You can go there and be like, look, I'm having a friggin' bad day. And everybody's like, cool, tell us about it. Now let's go play Dead by Daylight. And you can take it out on all of us because we can't get generators fast enough. So yeah,
you can just kill us in a video game. It's fine. Yeah. It's all good.
That's right. It is what it is.
That's it. Well, that's fantastic. Well,
we don't condone murder, but at the same time,
I mean,
the Grey Rooms,
it's
Dead by Daylight. I condone the shit out of that, murder the hell out of people in that game.
I have seen I got to get in on one of those sessions, man. I have the damn game, and I got to get in on one of those sessions.
You haven't played yet? Oh, you're coming at the worst time because I haven't practiced.
Yeah,
so now I'm going in.
Man,
I'm going into public matches, getting 4 kills every round. Now you're screwed.
Oh, no. I think I tried playing that game once, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. What do I have to do?
Poor CM. We played in the game one time. CM was just, I don't know why, but CM was like murder magnet for me. Every time I turn around, it's like killing someone. Ah, is that you, CM? Yep. Oh, my bad. Well, you're dead. Oh, there you go.
Whatever. Is that you? Sorry. Stab.
Yeah,
my bad.
I don't know. Just quit running in front of me. I remember one time I knew her character and actually avoided her. One time I was like, I'm leaving you alone.
It almost felt bad. It's like,
Here I am supposed to be a murderer with empathy. Or
murderer with empathy.
Like, I'm sorry, I can't do that.
Well, speaking of, that's a terrible segue, but speaking with murderers with empathy, on top of the fact that, you do the sound design and production, all that stuff for the Grey Rooms, the last thing I want to make sure we touch on for the Grey Rooms
binaural sound design.
Yes. Is you do a few voices on the Grey Rooms. Now, obviously, for those of you who listen to the Grey Rooms regularly, you know who you voice. But for those of you who are not familiar and who maybe are going to start listening to the podcast, who is the main character that you voice? Who is a fun character, I would imagine, for you to voice?
Well, my favorite character to voice, believe it or not, and you probably know already, it's the Warden. I absolutely love playing the Warden. Yeah. The Warden's fun just because I can be a flipping nut job. I just imagine sometimes what my family thinks when they walk by my door when I have it closed. And I'm just like, yeah, and they're just like, what nuts in here? I can just imagine, like, oh God, here he goes again. He's being that guy with that guy. He's a nut.
Crazy. And what's funny about it is it's not like it's a super crazy different voice from you normally. Like there are times where you'll say something and I'm like, you're literally talking in the Warden voice, but it's just, it's like, it's so funny. I would be breaking into that voice all the time if I was you. I'd just be like walking around all day, just like,
well done. That's nice. The Warden approves. That's very good.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll hang you by your friggin' toenails.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Originally I was going to reach out to the Warden for this interview, but I was too scared. So,
I mean, I get that. That guy's a nut. He's psychopathic. Did you not hear how excited he got throwing knives at Beckett? It was like it was almost like playing a Nerf war, like laser tag. That guy's crazy, dude. So
he's really like the backbone of the Grey Rooms for me personally. It's like just
really.
I get so excited. Like when I first just heard the Warden character, I was like, who is this guy and how do I get more of him?
That's so funny. That's so funny to me. You want to know a little backstory on that kind of stuff?
Please.
So the Warden was never really a part of the project, period. So when this started, I had no idea that I was going to, again, be blessed with somebody like Graham Road or like, again, Warren Richardson, who was, again, another one of the first actors, which if you don't know who Warren Richardson is, listen to the story Labyrinth. He plays the Minotaur. He's got the very deep voice, which is funny because he's also an Elvis Presley impersonator, which is funny, but anyway, whatever. I mean, do your thing, but listening to his voice, like how I mean, with your voice, if you were singing Elvis, I almost think it would be like the only people could hear it were like whales and stuff. Like, but whatever, you know, I'm just saying like this. That was a verse. That was a verse. Did you get any of that? No, I didn't get any of it. Did you? I didn't. But yeah. So originally, Bob was just going to be me. Totally. I was going to be every voice because I didn't expect to have anybody else. And then Graham came along and we were talking about it. And Graham's like, oh, I'll do that. And then he sent me the voice and was like, wow, this is like the perfect person for Bob. And I said, well, and then the way Brian started writing Bob, he was relatable. Like Bob was supposed to be literally like Graham does a really good job of harnessing like a guy who's been doing a job for a long time and just cannot stand his job. But he was supposed to be far more evil. And I said, you know what? I want somebody to be the worst thing possible. And so I literally just voiced a character for an intro. And I just did an intro into a story and it was the Warden. And then Brian was like, who was that? And I said, oh, that was a guy I came up with called the Warden. And he's a freaking psychopath. And he walks around in this outfit and he's covered from head to toe in keys because he is the guy who makes and hands out the keys. If you've ever been in the room, you are on him. And that's all for all time. So this guy's got billions of keys hanging off him kind of thing or whatever, you know. And Brian's like, let's run with that. And so the Warden was created because Graham came along and took Bob away from me. Thanks, Graham. I appreciate it.
Which, I mean, I you know, as fantastic as I'm sure your Bob would have been, I couldn't imagine not having the Warden, right? Like, it's almost just everything's meant to be, right? And like you said, like the character of Bob is so, he's such a dynamic character. And like, you know, there are times when, you know, Graham, he just fits into that so well, like you had said, but not having that lovable psychopath running around, come on. Well, I wouldn't say lovable psychopath, but that just...
Oh, Brian had some liberties where he made the Warden kind of goofy. I was digging it. Like actually, and Brian created Todd to kind of be like the Batman and Robin there, and he kind of wanted to be like, you know, literally like that. Like the Warden's this unhinged psychopath, and he has this like bumbling boob next to him. And when we gave it to Alistair, and we're like, I kind of think of like a Cockney dude. And Alistair came back with what he had, and he's like,
that's just
why don't you have Tony's in him? He's like, who are you? So yeah,
that is a super talented dude right there, man. Alistair Mackey. I love that man. The character of Todd too is just, and that's what's so cool about the Grey Rooms. And that's like when I talk about the Grey Rooms with people, they go, oh, so like it's like a horror story podcast. I'm like, yes, but there's also this whole other kind of story that's happening with all these super fun, unique, terrifying characters. And like there's so much more to it than just, oh, it's a horror story narration. Well, no, there's a lot more to it than that. And characters like Todd, Bob, the Warden, Beckett, you know, there's among
season
others.
4.
You know, yeah. Everyone involved in season 4. Like there's, and that's what's so cool about it. It's like as this project keeps evolving.
You forgot a big one. That everybody always murmurs about. Samantha Winters.
Yes, right. Samantha Winters, of course. How could I forget Samantha Winters?
Yeah, Sarah Ruth Thomas.
When I was listening to that season, so my fiance's name is Samantha. So I went through a phase where every time I heard Todd say Samantha, I'd come off work. I'm like, hello, Samantha.
I think Alistair would be happy with you right now.
I've listened to a lot of Todd. If I have a few beers, I can do it. Okay, Todd, I guess.
That's right.
But yeah, like, so I literally, man, I would come off work. I was like, hello, Samantha. Like,
does she listen?
No.
Oh, so it just bounces right. She doesn't.
She
well,
doesn't
she
really
probably
get
gets
it. Yeah,
because of you.
yeah. I told her, I'm like, no, there's this podcast. You know, she's that's nice, dear. You know, like just but yeah, no. Well, and that's one thing too. I want to mention that's so funny is like, and I think I said this to you in the Discord that first night. Like, you know, I don't have a huge background in horror. I've never really been into horror, and yes. Yeah. You know, I guess technically audio drama wise, SCP Archives was kind of sort of my first delving into that world a little bit, but
I can see that.
Grey Rooms was really like what made me be like, okay, there's some elements here that I've never really experienced. And then I'm like, it's kind of almost expanded my world a little bit with horror, where it's like, there can be these well thought out stories that can still scare the crap out of me. And it's not just silly nonsense, you know?
Well, yeah, we're not all trauma films. Yeah. We're not all Toxic Avenger, which, by the way, they're doing a remake of, which is crazy. I can't believe that. But yeah. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. I've always been into horror, but one thing about horror that I absolutely love, and you just nailed it right there, is that it's very diverse, very broad. Mm-hmm. And it's not like horror can be classified as multiple things. Like, for example, Blair Witch Project. Would you really call that horror? Or would you call that like thrillers? Or would you call that like, you know, I mean, horror, if you get your heart rate up, it makes you, it puts you on the edge of your seat, get you breathing a little heavy, get you sweaty, get your palms a little sticky, you know? And yeah. I wish I could say I wasn't really big into horror, but I'm not really big into a lot of other stuff, but horror, yeah, that's my thing. You try to sit me down and like make me watch like a romance film. That is horror.
That's horror to you. Yeah, I get it.
Oh my God. I would rather get popcorn stuck in between my teeth. So just saying. Sorry.
No, I feel you. So with horror with you, like, was that something you always into from an early age, or did it kind of as you grew up, you got into it? Or
I've always been in the darker stuff. Like even when I was younger, my grandmother used to read, which looking back on it, I didn't realize how, socially improper the stories were, but I used to listen to a lot of like Huckleberry Finn stories and everything. And my grandmother would read them to me, and she would really elaborate on the environments. Like she would set the tone, like lower the lights and put a blanket on me and just really read me these stories and get me sucked into them. And then she moved me into like the Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew and more of the murder mystery kind of stuff. And then she would start reading to me about like things like Jack the Ripper. And I'm a little kid, and this is my grandmother, dude. So I come from a really fucked up family, apparently. But I don't know. I always was really, and even I guess some fantasy, not necessarily books, but like movies like Neverending Story when I was a kid and stuff like that. But I guess horror just always just grabbed me, and it just really intrigued me. It put me in a place to where I wanted to be afraid. I wanted to feel the emotions that horror bring out. Whereas most other stuff, like even comedy, I love comedy, but it's like, I mean, I can go for the rest of my life without ever watching another stand-up show or ever watching another comedy movie. But I don't think I could go without watching another thriller or horror movie.
Right.
You know, but yeah, it didn't really come around until I'm sure you've heard this. I was like 10 or 11 years old. I always bounce around on the age, but it's 10, 12, somewhere in there. And I watched Evil Dead 2 on accident. And that was it right there. That's when I realized, man, I love horror movies. And I'm a huge Bruce Campbell fan, even though I heard he's a douche, but it is what it is. I love the man. And Bruce, if you ever want to do some voice work for the Grey Rooms, pro bono. That's all I got to say.
Listen, I'll say this right now, Bruce. Listen, if you want to be a part of the Grey Rooms Netflix adaptation, I mean, it's coming.
Oh, man. You know, I'd love to get on that Shudder. That'd be something else, right?
That'd be cooler. Let's be serious.
Just so fitting. So fitting. Yeah,
That's my next subscription service. I think is Shudder. I think I'm going to get into the Shudder.
You have to. I mean, come on. Yeah, it's like $5 a month, man, and you get like the new Creep Show is stupid. It's amazing. Like I can't stop watching Creep Show because I just have like my ties and stuff. See, it's all tying back to your original question. Yes, I've always been in a dark shit. I don't know why. I've never hurt animals. Matter of fact, I'm the kind of person that's like, I will go to rescue places and try to help animals. I go to homeless shelters. I go to like, there's a place out here called Lydia House. We take our kids there, and it's a place for like battered and beaten women and their families. And we go there and we like volunteer and feed them and everything like that. Yeah, that's a little inside stuff. Dude, I'm not at least I don't think I'm a psychopath, but for some damn reason, that horror and murder stuff, man, just like, yeah, that's amazing. I really enjoy that stuff. You know,
no, trust me, I hear you. I hear you. Like pretty recently started dabbling a little bit in the Reddit horror story writing. And I remember the wife happened to see a snippet of one of my stories and she went, "What is happening here?" And I was like,
have a talk.
You gotta understand, like, this is nuts. You're taking it out of context, but the rest of it's worse. So just, I think it's a healthy thing where, horror is an outlet. I believe I was speaking with Mark about this when he was on, where horror is a very healthy outlet for negative energy. Right? Sure. And
absolutely.
If you just it's like anyone who has a creative bone in their body at all. Like I always say, I'm someone who I have this creative energy I need to get out. And if I don't get it out, I start getting grumpy and I start getting that dark, not that I'm going to like go murder someone or anything like that, but just like I might start getting a little moody or I might start.
Or will he?
Or will I? No.
Welcome to the gray room.
Here is your key, bro.
I'm going to go on vacation, but while I'm gone, PJ, he's going to run the show for me. And don't you damn open any of your friggin' mouths. There you go, TJ. Have fun.
Thank you.
Bye.
That was more Batman. But I think it's a healthy thing, like to have that outlet, and some of the nicest people I've ever met so far in my life, even if it's just via, Zoom or whatever, have been people involved in that community, like nicest, most warmest, kind-hearted people. Then I meet people who are like in comedy or whatever. And it's like, wow, you're kind of douchey. You're kind of not what I thought you'd be. Like, okay. So I don't know if it's just because you're getting all that, you're pushing it all out or what, but I totally understand what you're saying for sure.
Yeah, I wish I had an answer to that. I really don't know. The only thing I could harken back to is the Discord channel again. Jump in there. You want to meet some friggin' people. He nailed it right on the head. Like, they're going to hold your hand and they're going to walk you down the path. Like, you want to be a writer and you've never done it? Come on in. You'll be a writer by the end of it.
Here's what you need to do, folks. I gave you the 411.
I'm not
go ahead and send anything you have.
TJ, by the way.
What'd you say?
I'm not going to stop talking about the Discord. I love it. I can't help it.
No, it's fantastic. I mean, I said something to Arthur Onk, our buddy, and within a couple of hours, he sent something back. And he had not only notes, but explaining why.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I learned more in that 5-minute read through of his notes than I have in almost the year I've been trying to do this. And I'm like, can't thank him enough for that. Cause it's like, it's made me look at things differently, and having that community to send things back and forth like that. And it's just amazing. It's absolutely amazing to watch.
And just great people to get to know. I'll tell you, man, there's been many a times like Christina will go to bed early. Jason's in bed. I don't have to go to sleep. I'm bored off my wits. I don't feel like editing for the night, even though I probably should. Nobody on the podcast is listening right now, I hope.
Oh, okay. Good faith for coming here today and will not be held this last scrutiny.
I edited 10 pages and was like, damn, I knocked out a story. I need to take some time off and I'll jump in the Discord. And you actually, here's a funny thing. I was at work the other day as a mail carrier, and I was like, you know what? I'm bored. I don't want to listen to podcasts. I don't want to listen to music. I don't want to listen to like the wind blow through leaves. And so I opened my phone up, opened up Discord, went to a voice channel, boom, turned on a voice channel, stuck the phone in my pocket. And within like 2 minutes, I had CM, I had Riggs, I had all these people in there. And I was having a conversation while at work with my patrons, with my Discord peeps. And why? Because why the hell not, man? So yeah, again, if you're not in that Discord, you're missing out. I'm telling you, there's a hole in your life, and it's going to be filled by the gray rooms. Here's your key.
Hi, I'm the warden. And if you have a hole in your life, fill it with the Gray Rooms Discord.
And I'm happily there to be at your son and or daughter's wedding, to be the one to send them off to their happy place. So if you need somebody to really bring the light out in family festivities, the warden is there. Email me. I'll get back.
And he will also murder on the dance floor.
What? Never. Oh yeah, dance floor. Yeah, that's right. I wrote the Thriller dance. That was me. That was me. I was like, hey, you need to be zombies. Michael was like, that's a good one. I said, that thanks, Mike. And then yeah. So, anyways, like I sidetrack. Sorry.
I wish the word making an appearance though.
Oh, come on. It's inevitable. One, have Maker's Mark, and two, it's me. So I mean,
so eventually, I had hoped the warden was going to make an appearance, and there you go.
That's right.
I'd have the warden officiate my wedding, but I don't think the wife would go for it.
I mean, her loss.
I'll run it by her, see what she says.
Yeah, right not. Sure.
That's it, man.
If anything, I'll send you a recorded message.
Oh, that would be that would be fantastic. Can we talk for a second before we move on? One more thing sure. I want to mention about the Discord, bringing it back up again. There was a period of time where I don't know how it really started, but there's also these little inside things we talk about in the Discord once in a while.
Oh God, I think I know where you're going.
There is a voice memo on my phone I have that I will never delete. And it is of Graham Rowett as Bob saying the word honk. And that's it. Honk. As what? A goose.
I have never heard this.
Really? Okay, hang on. I'm pulling this up. Screw the podcast.
Oh, man.
I'm pulling this up. Hang on.
Oh man, you know it's funny. So we had an off-season chat one time, and if you want to cut this out, you can, but it's nothing nothing salacious. We had an off-season chat and we were talking about developing a season. We're like, well, maybe we should kill somebody off, you know? And I said, why don't we kill Bob off? And Graham said, no. What? No, we can't. No, we can't kill. So Graham loves playing Bob. Graham loves Bob. He does and you're right. I don't think there's anybody that could ever do it as good as him, for sure. So.
No, as far as I'm concerned, he is the only Bob. There is no other Bob here. Okay. This may not be the best quality, but you guys get an exclusive. I gotta hear this. This is it right here. Honk. Did you hear that? Hang on. I have my speakers wrong. Try this again.
How did you get that? He said it to you in Discord?
Yeah, he said it to the Discord.
Oh God, Graham's having fun.
He's having fun. Mind sharing that, but
no,
there was this having fun honk thing that started because someone brought up a goose or something, and it still hasn't stopped. There was the one night I was at work, like you were saying, you know, I was at work and the Discord was just popping, and I was like, what's going on? And I jump on the voice chat, and everyone's just like, honk, honk. And I was like, what the hell is going on?
Goose rounds, yeah. I have no idea where that came from. I have no idea at all. I think somebody screwed up. I think somebody said something wrong or something. I don't know, but I did realize that. And okay, one little spoiler here in season 4 at the beginning, there's a thing that happens, and apparently there's a goose in the background.
There is.
And you know what the funny thing was, is I did the sound design for this and I had no idea that was there. I had no idea that was there. And somebody pointed it out and I went back and listened. I said, son of a bitch, how fucking crazy is that is there, that this is going on right now in the Discord. And I just happened to include a flipping goose. So,
and if I can break the the secrecy a little bit here for some of the Discord people, they were all freaking out because they thought you would put that in. That's like a little. And I was like, he totally put it in. I'm sure. Like, I was like,
no,
probably was already there. But let's just say,
yeah,
for everybody's sake, that it was.
I mean, haha. There you go.
If you join the Discord and make a funny joke, maybe it too will make its way into the bedrooms.
I don't even know. Yeah, you're right though. Every morning it's like honk morning to all you guys or something like that.
A good honk morning.
Good honk morning. You know? I don't know how that started. I really don't. But whatever. It's really funny. Everybody seems to have a damn good time with it. However, I will say that picture Arthur put up of my supposed warden cat, I friggin' printed that off. I love that thing. That is my cat. Zanky, that's my cat. Period.
And that's what's so, again, just so amazing about the Discord and the Grey Rooms community is, yes, it's this fantastic podcast and it's terrifying and it's creepy and it's uncomfortable and all these wonderful things. But then also there's this community that's just like, we're making jokes about honking. Like what? Like,
yeah. Not in the Discord. Like horror stops at the doors of the Discord. Like, done.
Well, sometimes because sometimes the, some of those authors will give a little welcome message to somebody, and
oh God, yeah,
especially Arthur and Tori. They just.
I had somebody locally here that I see all the time join our Discord, and they were like, "Yeah, somebody said something about getting bones for a tree or something. I don't know what the hell that was about." Yeah, you got one of our authors' greetings. That
bones was for a tree. Or something.
Yeah. They're like, I don't understand that. I said, you obviously don't understand what you got yourself into. So yeah, it's a great community.
Absolutely. Well, one thing I want to make sure that
TJ's there all the time. So make sure you bring your booties over to Discord, the Grey Rooms, and TJ's there. DJ, you got a Discord, right?
I do not, but
he does next. Now. Come on over to Grey Rooms.
Yeah. Come over to the Grey Rooms instead. It's going to be a lot better. My Discord would be just me, like dancing around, like.
Yeah,
you guys want to watch me edit? But
we trying to say.
No, yours is interesting.
Whatever.
When I came on yours, I was like sitting there drooling over watching your likes. I was like, oh my God, is he going to do that? Oh my God, is he going to do that?
God,
I was like marking out.
That blows my mind. Sometimes I sit there and I'm just like staring at my screen and I zone in. And just like, I'm like, how are the people watching this? This has got to be the most boring thing on the face here. That's why I'm talking like, yeah, I'd like to have like a zipper here, but I think I'm going to get like a shoelace and then I'm going to drop the pitch. So, because I'm trying to make it interesting. But I'm like, I'm just watching like, how in the fuck? Because it's just moving sound around.
Oh man, that like I said, that first night I was on cloud 9 watching. So I was just like, that's how he does that. Oh my God. Like, I think there was something you said. And again, to me, it sets you apart from some of the stuff out there when there was a sound like someone was entering a building and the door closed and you were like, what pisses me off is when someone goes from being outside to inside and there's and they say there's blowing wind outside and all of a sudden there's no noise from outside.
Oh, like, yeah.
You're like, what? Where did the sound go? Like it just disappears. And I was like, whoa. I'm going to steal that.
That's true. That's true. 100%. Just because you walk into a room doesn't mean like the world disappears around you. I mean, shit, you got to integrate that. That was from check-in. Yeah.
Right. Oh, so I think that was a little bit later on, but yeah, no, that was something for me again that I was just like, that's freaking hilarious.
That's cool.
Stemming from the sound design and all that, I wanted to make sure we talked about this because I'm just very interested in it myself. You mentioned that you were in the world of radio before.
No.
How did what's
14
the story
years
behind that a little bit?
Yeah, well, I went to school for broadcast journalism, and the reason why I did that is because anybody who doesn't know, I live in Nebraska. I live in the middle of America. There's lots of like bib overalls, big F1, F250s, and corn, and American flags everywhere. It's a lot of redneck stuff. It's good stuff. It is what it is. I enjoy it. Right. Absolutely. And I actually live in a suburb of the biggest city, which coincidentally, here's the funny thing. I live in Omaha, Nebraska, which I believe the population is like 812,000, something like that. I just found out that the population of San Francisco, California, not including the surrounding areas, but San Francisco is like only 880,000. So San Francisco is only just like, a couple of drunk Saturdays away from the population of being Omaha, Nebraska. So we're not small, damn it. But anyways, I live in a rural suburb of Omaha, which is about 2,000 people in it. So I live in a small little redneck town. And yeah. Oh shit! I just totally lost my train of thought. TJ, get me back on track.
You were talking about like just where you're at.
Wow, how did
I kind of lost it too there.
Okay, repeat your question. You got to keep this in.
Yes, you would. Well, that's how you know I've had a few drinks too. When I completely lose it myself.
Radio.
Yes,
that's
radio.
Right. I'm sorry. So yeah,
I lost it too.
Harken back to my win. Anyway, so Nebraska, I always wanted. Okay, so I wanted to get into video games and everything, but I wanted to do sound design because I actually went to school for animation and CGI.
Oh,
but
nice.
I don't have the patience for that. I don't have the patience. I just don't.
Yeah.
But sound, I always loved explosions in it. By the way, that was the best. You got to keep that in. That's amazing. Like you need to clip that crap. That needs to be a highlight. Anyways, but being in Nebraska, they don't have just audio engineering classes. It has to be tied into something else. So right. I went to broadcast journalism because obviously y'all can tell I don't know how to shut up, sober or drunk, doesn't matter. And wow, wouldn't you know it? Radio was a very natural fit for me. I did really well in radio. Like I went to school and I aced most of my classes, which in high school, I'm telling you what, I was like a D student. Okay, I wasn't that bad, but you know what I mean? I was barely try. It was right. Sure. That's good. Yeah, but it's like I just didn't care, nothing really grabbed me. But when I got into broadcasting school, even classes like business math were interesting. I don't know, just something about it. But a little brag on that. When I got into my first practicum, where we went in and we practiced being radio DJs, I made it onto the air at the college station.
Nice.
In my first practicum. The next person to get on air after me was 2 semesters later. So nobody in my class, I was the first person to make it on air. And by then I'd already been kicked off air. And that's another story. I'll tell you that one. That's a good one. But anyways, yeah. So I got into sound design and everything else like that because of radio. And because I wanted to do sound design is where I found that I enjoyed radio. And I remember turning a microphone on and realizing I was in front of 800,000 people, at least, and right here. And that was the scariest thing in the world. But the second I was like, I went by Buckethead. That was my name. Don't ask me why.
Buckethead?
Because that was in college, because when I got into the professional world and actually started working in professional radio, I went by PJ because I was actually a producer. My name's Jason, a producer Jason, so I went by PJ. And it was like Q985, 962, 9898. This PJ in his house, this is pink, blah, 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 blah. And it was a good time. I just had a really good time. So yeah, I worked in radio for a long time and I did a lot. I actually, God, I'm really going to draw this out, aren't I? When I got out of college, I had a hard time getting a job. And so I literally grabbed the yellow pages while I was working a job going around collecting the money out of vending machines. And I would call radio stations every day. I did that every day. Call every radio station in town. Hey, do you have openings? How can I apply? Do you have openings I can apply? Finally, I got through to one, and which happened to be the biggest top 40 station in the city. And they brought me in for an interview. And the guy who interviewed me was a really good friend of mine from college who was on the morning show, who was a good buddy of mine who now worked over there in their department. And he brought me in as an unpaid intern. So I had to come in and just do all this random garbage, which if you ever look up a name, Houston Alexander, who was a UFC fighter, he was one of the guys before he was a UFC fighter out of Omaha. He trained me. He worked in radio here at station called Power 106.9. He trained me before he got in the UFC and everything, and started beating the crap out of guys in 48 seconds.
Yeah.
I remember watching, I was like, that dude taught me how to use this microphone. That was that guy, So anyways.
I was knocking dudes out.
So, he just broke that guy's jaw in 48 seconds. So I know that I'm just, Houston, whatever you need. I got it. No big deal. You need move this? You need me to move more than just this? I'll move whatever you want.
Whatever you want, bro.
You want me to pay you to have me move it? I mean, that's fine. I'll do it. No
I'll wash your car, like whatever.
That's right. So I'll give you my car while I wash yours, and you can have them both at the end, huh?
It's good whatever times, you want, right? Bro. Whatever.
Yeah, bro, don't kill me. So yeah, radio was that, and then it worked for Radio Disney and all that. And they listened to me do some of my, they had these little side booths. I'd go in there and fart around and just make these little sound effects. And they asked me one day, hey, do you want to start doing some production work? And I said, I mean, yeah, I don't really have much experience in that. I said, well, we listen to what you do. You have plenty of experience. So then I started making a lot of the commercials, like, you're listening to 98.5, and all that kind of crap. And they would let me do it. And so next thing you know, I spent half my days in a tiny little, like really tiny little space with a big mic in my face. And it'd be like, Ford, that's what you need to drive. And it'd be like, it was great. I just enjoyed that. And it was fun. Unfortunately, radio doesn't pay very well. So no. I remember one month, me and two other people who worked for Power 106.9 made that station $1 million in 1 month with our sales pushes. We got people out there, and I'm not a salesman, but we got people in. It was them selling it, and me voicing it, and we got that. Made them $1 million. They got us donuts and a paperweight. I swear to God, I'm going to find this paperweight and I'm going to show you a picture of it, TJ. I'm telling you right now. I don't know where it is right now, but it's a flipping paperweight. Thanks for your first $1 million month. Has your name on it in the year. And you're like, wow, I made you $1 million this month and you give me a paperweight and some Dunkin'.
That's brutal. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So. And by the way, listeners, I wish I could give you some of your life back on that, but I apologize.
No, that's
mine now.
Oh God, the warden's here again. Well, that's what's so funny. Like the second like I mentioned before, I have a good friend of mine's in radio, and he helped me out with the production of the show in the early days. And when I first started listening to the Grey Rooms, I'm listening and I'm like, this is different. The production, I'm listening and I'm like, this is. Like this guy either like has had years and years of experience doing this, or he has years of doing it in that world. I'm like, I don't know why. I can just always tell. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just because I listen to it so much with my buddy. Just sure. You can tell there's little things, little cuts, and the imaging and stuff like that. Where it's just obviously with the Grooms, you're not doing like imaging like I have on my show or anything, but like I don't know if it's just. It's this weird, almost second sense I have where I'm like, you were in radio. You had to have been. And what was so fun for me was I knew that about you. And then the preseason for season 4, Dead Air, came along.
Oh, yeah.
And that was fun to hear, man. That was fun to hear.
I had so much fun with that episode. That was like, I had like PTSD, Vietnam flashback kind of stuff. I was like, what's in the bush? It's like, yeah, it was nuts.
Yeah, hearing you do like the call out and everything, I was like, that's just fantastic.
Man, it's nuts. Yeah, every now and then, one of the local stations will still play one of my station IDs, and that's from Q 98.5 962 9898. And every now and then it pops up. It's usually on the overnights, but every now and then it pops up. I'm like, holy shit, that's like 14 years old.
That's freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's good, right? When they want.
I mean, I get that, or they're just lazy. But yeah,
I'm sure it's not the laziness. I'm sure it's the this one's really good. Let's just keep using this.
I don't know. I worked there. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, listen, it has been an absolute pleasure chatting with you, man. I could chat with you for another 2 hours, just getting to dissect everything and getting to just kind of shoot the breeze with you. But just as we're getting ready to wind down here, there's one more thing I wanted to make sure I ask, and I kind of want to put you on the spot a little bit.
No.
With
I'll
the
try
Grey
to keep
Rooms,
it brief.
Do you have either a couple of episodes that really stand out to you as like episodes you're most proud of, or do you have one in particular that you really look at as, okay, like let's say someone wanted to listen to the Grey Rooms for the first time. Do you have an episode that you would like to show them first, or is your opinion of, start at season 1 and just go through everything?
I mean, I would definitely say start at season 1 because it's going to make sense. If you don't do it that way and you come halfway in, you're going to be kind of lost. What the hell's going on? But honestly, I mean, well, Arthur's episode, Ice Station Bravo, was probably the biggest one I ever did cinematically. Like, I really enjoyed that. Plus I had Mike Lee's band in that. I thought that was really cool. Just like a big collaboration of stuff. But I got to say that, I mean, I loved My Human is up there, but the one that I'm probably, this is going to sound ridiculous, but the one I'm proudest of, and it's just because it was really the one that got everything going. It was the one that really got it. It really made it real. Like, it made me go, okay, all right, this is the real deal, and I can really do that. I remember Chrissy like listening to it on a set of headphones, turning the lights off, and going into a corner and just like pushing the headphones on her head and coming back, going, "Wow, that was really good." But Falling, the very first episode ever, and I had actually asked Mike. I said, "Hey, write me a story about somebody who dies this way," and he said, "Gotcha." Boom. And like a couple of days later, I had that story. Then Graham voiced it, and Falling to me, I absolutely love that story. But to kind of piggyback off of that, JM was not part of that. And real quick on JM, real quick. I know that you're running out of time. I'm sorry. I don't know how to shut up. I don't know how to shut up, so I can just continue on and on and on. But JM, when I wanted to do this, I was looking for a really good theme, and I originally wanted it to be kind of like spooky, ghosty kind of theme. Right. And I came across him on YouTube. And he had one called like The Other Side. I believe that's what it's called. You looked it up. J.M. Sheriff, The Other Side. I'm pretty sure that's it. Look, that's the one that influenced me to contact him. And he said, "This is how much it costs. You got to pay me half before I talk to you." So I said, boom, gave him half. And Chrissy was like, "What the fuck? You spending that much money on it?" It's like, "Shut up. It's worth it." Obviously not like that,
Not in that tone, but
close. But yeah, I mean, close.
Is she here? I mean,
puffing chest. Yeah, right. I got the door closed, dude.
Yeah, and then I said,
I'm safe. I'm good. I got the door closed. And there's sound panels on there. So we're good. But yeah, so anyways, they called me. I told him what I was thinking. And then he came back a couple days later, and then he did another draft, and then boom, I paid him the rest. And then I put the podcast out, and I called him again and say, "Hey, I need a musical bed. I'll give you X amount of dollars. Can you give me just a bed?" And he said, "Yeah, cool." So he gave me that, and I paid him. And then it was like a little bit later, because season 1 wasn't done in order. Now they're done in order. I do 1 through whatever in order. Before I was like, "Oh, this is going to be harder, so I'll do this first." And it was just really, really ended up screwing me in the end. Like, really made season 1 a lot harder than it needed to be. But I called him and I said, "Hey, have you ever thought about doing this kind of stuff?" And he said, "I was waiting for you to call me." And so we had a talk, and he said he'd never heard a podcast in this kind of vein before. And they did this kind of thing. Normally podcasts use people talking. He didn't know about the audio dramas. And so he wanted to jump on. And the first story he did for us was the last 2/3 of I Loved My Human, because the very first beginning of that was not J.M. Sheriff. That was audio that I had done. So anyways, he came in, and that was there. And I don't think that he gets enough credit too. That's why I wanted to like touch on him later when we were going through that stuff, because you want to talk about somebody who really sets the pace for the Grey Rooms. That's friggin' J.M. Sheriff. That guy's music sets. There's the sound effects make you see the environment. The voice makes you hear the environment. The music makes you be the environment. So J.M. Sheriff is definitely a wizard and a wonderful human being. So if I were to go into a story that included J.M. Sheriff, it wasn't Falling. Oh my God, J.M. Sheriff's done so many of them. But I honestly have to sit here and say that probably outside the finale of season 2 with Samantha Winters, especially part 2, when they were outside with Bob, when he did his transformation and everything. I think that was the first time I had like literal goosebumps all over my arms listening to what JM does. Now, like every time he does anything, I'm like, "Oh my God, I love JM so much." But yeah, so
it's so good.
But Falling would be just start from the beginning. You can't go wrong. Yeah. There's a learning curve. You can listen to it until I'm learning how to edit audio dramas, because I'm not really used to that. But now I think I kind of got it down to where it sounds natural and normal. But you got to start from the beginning, because it's a ride, and we need you there. And come over to Discord, because we're gonna play some Dead by Daylight.
And you'll probably get killed, but
you're gonna get killed.
You're gonna for sure get killed.
No, you're dead. There's no hope.
There's no abandon all hope, ye who enter the Discord chat with the Dead by Daylight.
and I'll have your key for you. So, TJ, love you, man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. And I mean, I am a patron as well of the Grey Rooms. And I mean, I can't say enough wonderful things about the Patreon, and, getting the exclusive episodes that we do and all the exclusive content is so much fun. And I mean, I can't say enough just fantastic things about the Grey Rooms and everyone involved. And Jason, I appreciate you taking the time to getting to come out and hang out with us and being so candid and just having a great time with you. It's been a lot of fun, man.
I don't think I know how to shut up, man. And I appreciate you being here, dude. I don't know. I just have a really good time, and you nailed it, by the way. Real quick, I love every single one of you. You're a patron. You're the man. All of y'all that are patrons, I'm telling you, I'm not trying to just stroke your toes. You make this possible. You literally do. If I could show you a picture of where I started to where I'm at now, that is all because of you. What we have coming in the works here is all because of you. So thank you for your support. And even if you're not a patron, listening, telling people about it, spreading the word, getting more ears in, that's all we can ask for. But if you are a patron, again, I am and forever in your debt. You don't understand that you make me live a pinch me moment at all times. I truly love y'all. So thank you.
Well, that's it, Father. Well, where can the good people find you and the Grey Rooms if they want to give you guys a follow and check you guys out? Obviously, I'll have some links down below, but
sure,
I can only have a couple. So,
well, I mean, if you can't figure it out in any podcast app, look up the Grey Rooms, which we would recommend heading to iHeartRadio or the Spreaker app and iHeart, because we were picked up by them. So we are an iHeart publisher.
Right. Yes, that's fantastic.
Yeah, man.
Congratulations
So
on that too. I totally forgot to mention that.
No, that's fine. That's a big deal. That moves us up. That moves us into the top 1% in the world as far as podcasters in our category. So, but you can look it up on iHeartRadio, Spotify, go there, any of them, just type in the Grey Rooms with an E, or if you just want to do it the easy way, thegrayrooms.com. And I own both spellings. So you can put an A or an E, whatever. It is what it is. The big thing is, come to Discord. You can go to the .coms, you can go to all that to listen to the episodes, but go to the Discord, and then look up the Grey Rooms. Come in there. We'll connect you to everything, and we'll also connect you to the world's greatest community. I promise.
Absolutely. And I'll see you guys there when it happens.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Awesome. Jason, thank you so much, brother.
Yes, sir.
All right, folks, there you have it. My chat with Jason Wilson, the creator of the Grey Rooms. I don't really know what else to say. That was, without a shadow of a doubt, one of my favorite recording sessions I have ever had in the almost 6 years of doing this podcast. Just so much fun, man. Jason is a great guy, a great friend now, and one of my favorite creators. So what else can I say? A huge inspiration to me as far as with his sound design and producing and his voice acting as well. And I did forget to mention to him on air, and I meant to, and I'm just realizing this now that I didn't say anything, but his version of The Raven was what really inspired me to do my own version of it. So big shout out to you again, Jason. Thank you so much, man, for being such a great guy, great friend, and for being such a fantastic guest. And if you are listening to this and for some reason you have not checked out the Grey Rooms, what are you doing? Stop what you're doing right now. Just the episode's over. Go listen to the Grey Rooms right now. It is amazing. It deserves your support. It deserves your 5-star ratings to help this podcast grow. I cannot stress enough, the group of people behind this podcast are amazing. Something tells me you might hear from more of them coming up on the show. But they deserve your support, man. And the content they do, as far as I'm concerned, it's the best audio drama horror podcast out there. And I'm just saying that. I've listened to a lot of them. There's a lot of amazing audio horror drama podcasts out there. Do not get me wrong. A lot of amazing stuff. But to me, the Grey Rooms is number one. And that's for many different reasons. One of which is because of my guest here, Jason Wilson, because of everything he does for the show. So huge shouts to the Grey Rooms and everyone involved in the Grey Rooms. Without a doubt, just an amazing podcast. So go check it out. Link down below to the website. Find it in all your podcast apps. And go listen. And join the Discord. I'll be there. Come hang out. We'll have a great time. I'll associate all the homies over on the Discord. Big shouts to all the Discord homies, all the roomies. Honk! We have fun over on the Discord. So come hang out. And if you are listening to this podcast for the very first time, thank you so very much for checking out The Harder Show. It means the world to me. I have a ton of other great content with content creators, musicians, authors, interesting dynamic people, local businesses, and I also do something I like to call music showcases, in which I will play a band's album or EP in full and then we'll kind of do a bit of a review. It's more of just me talking about what I like about the record, not really a traditional review. But what I've been doing lately also is I've been having the artists on who talk about the album in detail. So if that kind of stuff interests you, be sure to hit that subscribe button, leave a rating. If you're on Spotify, leave a rating because Spotify has ratings now, and that's my main platform. So go over to Spotify, help your boy out, or you can also subscribe on the YouTube channel and just come hang out, come be a part of my community, man. We really are trying to build this wonderful community. And in the spirit of building a wonderful community, I have relaunched my Patreon. That's right. The Harder Show is back on Patreon. And if you would like to support The Harder Show for less than a cup of coffee at some places, you can do that. And if you'd like to support The Harder Show for a little more than that, I very much appreciate it. It is, of course, totally optional, but check it out, patreon.com/The Harder Show to help this show out. Once I reach my goal of $30 a month, I'm going to start doing a Patreon exclusive podcast that you guys can check out, as well as live streams, live editing, just live hangouts and things of that nature, and also behind the scenes looks and possibly early access, things of that nature. I want to grow the Patreon, but I got to hit that first goal. Once I hit that first goal, I'm going to dive headfirst into the Patreon stuff. So if that is just you, go ahead and check out the Patreon. I seriously appreciate it. But even seriously, leaving a rating helps this show grow and helps my show be found by more people who may enjoy it. You can find me on the social media at The Harder Show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you have any questions or comments or would like to be on the show, hit me up at thehardershow@gmail.com. With all that out of the way, I'm going to sign off here today. Thank you so very much for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time on The Harder Show. Take it easy, guys.